he introduced me to the head of brand and creative at Art Basel. I met with her, and over a few month period, we were having phone calls, meeting for coffee. It manifested into an actual offer. So I've been freelancing there for, I think, over 4 years now, doing the creative direction and the production, like you said, of the Meet the Artists, Meet the Collector, and Inner Worlds. Inner Worlds is in collaboration with Nowness. So I quit the job at the day before I was supposed to start, which is horrible. But when I went to Highsnob, I was kind of like, yeah, no worries, I can do it. Oh my God, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was my first 2 shoots I remember were the most intense experiences in my career. I cried, I remember, on the way to one of my first shoots. And when I moved to Berlin, everything, I felt like, I really feel the chemistry of the city. And it's kind of like meeting a person. You have chemistry or you don't sometimes, or some things fall flat. And I think Toronto fell flat for me. We really wanted to try and do that with Justice. It didn't work out in the way we wanted to because we wanted to shoot the concert. They didn't want to do this, which was sad. I mean, we had an hour and a half with them in La Cigale, which was the place that they performed one of their first shows in Paris.
Akiel, thank you so much for taking the time. Welcome to the Virtual Love podcast, my always work in progress project. And this podcast is about freelancing, self-employment, and the creative industry. As you know, I'm a creative director, creative producer, and business or brand strategist. And I'm excited to share the stage with you. Okay, this I'm gonna edit. No, but yeah, I usually my spiel is always.
I'm usually a solo act, but it's okay. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. I rather go straight into what the structure of the podcast is. So we're going to introduce you, talk about your journey, what you have done. We have an overrated, underrated section, and towards the end, and then we have these scratch cards, and you have to pick one of those, which we're gonna reveal in the end, if we're going to win 10,000 euros.
Oh, all right.
Which we can share.
Pretty good deal. Have to share. All right.
So you have you got to pick one.
Okay. I picked the one that says money, money, of course.
It's the best runner so far because I had 3 of those before and everyone was picking the money one. So this one we're going to reveal in the end.
Okay.
So you're a creative and cultural producer in the art and also film world. You're based between Berlin and Frankfurt, originally from Toronto.
Yes.
You work for Art Basel and you did the documentary series Meet the Artist as well as Inner Worlds and the recent one with Justice I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
And Highsnobiety as well as a creative producer for campaigns and editorial stuff for the Schirn Kunsthalle in Frankfurt, one of the most prolific and exhibition spaces, I think, in the country. Then you also co-founded Soft Launch, Ex-Girlfriend Berlin, and Loose Ends.
Ex-Girlfriend Berlin is a friend. One of my co-founders in Soft Launch. She founded this gallery. This is all her.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that was you have to tell me about this a bit more later. Also, Loose Ends, I think, is maybe a part of an exhibition series within that space. Maybe I'm mistaken. And then Soft Launch is like your production company and creative studio.
Yes.
You work with tons of brands and you're a cool and funny dude. And we met through a mutual friend, Jakob, I think in one of your first days in Berlin in a beer garden in Holzmarkt.
Jakob and Leon. Yeah, yes, I remember. Way back. Yeah.
Exactly. So, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
How did you end up in Berlin is my first question.
Well, I think I'm half Italian. I grew up going there every summer with my family. And I think I knew from quite a young age, I was like, yeah, for sure, I want to leave Canada. And so that was always the plan. The plan was actually initially Italy. And I did move to Italy when I graduated university and I moved to Florence and I worked at a film festival as an intern. And my intention was to live there permanently, but it didn't really work out. So I moved back to Toronto and it was kind of like this, I was living in this state of purgatory kind of never really setting any roots there because I knew I wanted to leave again, but I just wasn't sure where my next move was. And to be honest, I chose Berlin just for the fact that I didn't know anyone there. I did want to go intentionally where I was like starting completely fresh. I didn't know anybody. I wanted to go to a non-English speaking country. I wanted to learn a third language. And I wanted to be in a big city. And it was essentially like the biggest city outside of Paris. And Paris wasn't interesting for me at the time, or it wasn't a place I could see myself at the time. So this is basically how I chose Berlin, just like a matter of process of elimination.
Nice.
Because I'm Italian, also I wanted to stay within the EU, so I don't have to deal with any visa things. So this is essentially a process of elimination. And then boom, here I am.
And when did you arrive in Berlin? Have you been in Berlin before Florence? Like, did you check out the city?
Yeah, I could hardly say yes because I went with a couple of friends on a trip, on a Euro trip when we graduated university. And we were in Berlin like 2 days and around Alexanderplatz, kind of like in this, what was like Wombat Hostel or something like this.
All right.
So honestly, now that I've lived here 5 years, I could say I definitely didn't know. I didn't see anything of the city. I didn't know what I was doing. So no, I went in super blind.
Nice. And so did you go back to Canada after Florence or did you go straight? Like, how was the move? Did you come here quickly?
Yeah, I went to Canada, back to Florence. I was there for 5 years, kind of just flew by when I went. But I went back in 2016 and then I left in 2021. And it was actually COVID. When COVID happened, I remember thinking, okay, what am I still doing here? 5 years has flown by. You've been planning to make your move at some point, but it was never the right time. And then at some point I thought, okay, it's never really going to be the right time. So I might as well just bounce now. Things are kind of chaotic. So I sold everything I owned basically and like put a couple of things into storage at my parents' house, packed up 2 suitcases and just bounced.
Nice.
I mean, I had a lot of savings as well at the time because COVID, I wasn't buying and going out as much, obviously. So I just banked all the money and was like, okay, let me just try this out. And it worked out really well.
So you
think
moved
it was
within COVID?
Pardon? Yeah,
So,
I moved in COVID.
Yeah, I mean, definitely worked out, right? I mean, I think that was a good move for you. And I'm happy that you came so we could link up. But so what did you do in Canada? And like, did you have a real job? Did you study anything?
Yeah, I studied my bachelor's in sociology and then I finished. That's when I moved to Florence. I was working at this film festival. My idea was to stay. It just didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I moved back and I was trying to stay in a creative industry. I would say Toronto's creative industry was a bit trickier to break into because in my experience, it's quite small and quite gate-kept.
Okay.
And so yeah, I worked in an advertising agency. I started as an account manager. I did it for a year. I hated it. Honestly, it was super not for me. And as I was planning my escape, I think I was there like 7 months and I was like, I got to get out of here. I need to do something else. Then internally, someone like the head of production was like, hey, I think maybe you'd like this better. Do you want to give it a shot? And I was like, yeah, sure. Definitely liked it a lot better doing production, especially because we were doing a lot of TV.
Within the same agency?
Within the same agency, exactly. We were doing a lot of TV work and I loved it. And then I kept bouncing from agency to agency, working in advertising. But I think ultimately advertising, I knew it wasn't for me. I think every year I was moving to another agency or trying out a new job, basically within the production world, just to get a bit closer to something that I felt was more meaningful to me. I couldn't really put my energy into something like a brand commercial for McCafe. I just didn't care, you know? So I think this was like a really big struggle for me in Toronto and I was notoriously unable to keep a job. I just kept moving around, basically. So when I moved to Berlin, my goal was I had money saved. I was going to take 8 or 9 months, really look for something that was going to suit me and bring me in the direction I wanted to go, which was definitely more into visual arts. And then I got a freelance job with Highsnob. And I think in terms of working in the fashion world, it's so visually striking and it operates at a very high creative level with very little boundaries. So I went there.
Nice. Was that your first
One
gig?
second.
Yeah.
Can you cut? I need to plug the laptop in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
You can snip this, right? It's not like a huge deal.
Maybe I leave it in. Also,
okay.
I definitely had like the most awkward start into this podcast was this one for me. My intro.
Yeah, you're gonna have to snip that one up, eh?
Yeah, maybe I leave all of it. But also like there's something, some clicking. I'm not sure if it's your ring on the desk or something like when you had your.
It's probably my bracelet. Does it
Yeah,
sound like
that's
this?
one. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Let me put my bracelets in. Okay, cool.
Thank you. We can talk about your jewelry also.
Okay.
The other fun stuff. But now, when you ended up, was Highsnobiety your first job or gig in Berlin?
Yeah, it was. Actually, I mean, I'm not sure. I'll tell you the story, but I'm not sure if you cut it or not. But anyways, I was actually supposed to start at marketing services or something like this. And I remember taking the job because I thought, okay, I have like 4 months of cash left. I'm going to take this job. It starts in 3 months and then I'll see if anything else comes up in the meantime. And then I got the interview with Highsnobiety and I was doing this kind of process. And on the day of my last interview, they called me back and they were like, hey, we'd like to offer you a freelance role. And I was like, oh, dope. But it's freelance and maybe I wanted something a bit more secure and I have this secure thing lined up for me to start the next day. Actually, I was supposed to start the next day.
Yeah.
And then actually I called my dad and he was like, nah, go for the freelance one. This is definitely more up your alley. So I quit the job at the day before I was supposed to start, which is horrible. I think I burned a bridge there. But I think ultimately it worked out really well. Then I started freelancing at Highsnob. I think honestly, I got to meet so many brilliant directors, photographers, stylists, everybody in this world. And yeah, I think it really built a foundation for where I am today now in my career, for sure. I still am very close friends with so many people in this industry. And I think everyone was always working on something alongside their commercial and fashion work, whether it was a magazine or a radio station or etc. So it's been really cool to collaborate with all of these people outside of the space. It was a good foundation for me, I think, starting in this city.
Yeah, 100%, especially with Highsnobiety. And as you said, like in Toronto, it felt like very cliquey. I think in Berlin, it's similar. But if you work on like so many different projects in a short amount of time, you just meet so many people. And I think it's all, and also in so many different roles. But it's not like you're in one department, but you meet all of them.
I also had no idea what I was doing. I remember my first shoot, really, I was like, because it was very much line production. And I was used to kind of agency production. So overseeing the kind of producer who's working at the production house, But when I went to Highsnob, I was kind of like, yeah, no worries, I can do it. Oh my God, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was my first 2 shoots I remember were the most intense like experiences in my career. I cried, I remember, on the way to one of my first shoots because I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. But it turned out all right. Now I know what I'm doing, I can say confidently.
But nice. Yeah, that's how to do it. I mean, just gotta figure it out on the way.
Fake it till you make it, baby. I believe in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like also just like going, basically pushing your own boundaries of what you think you can do, because you had like some background in all of this. So it's just like now you start to be responsible for the things also. Can you share which projects you did or what you worked on?
First?
Like those two, like the first 2 projects you were talking about.
It was a Puma shoot. We were shooting in Reinickendorf at this big vintage shop called, I forget what it's called. Nockmal. That's what it was called. And we had to have like 3 different sets happening in this big space. That was my very first one for Puma. And my second one was also for Puma. And it was, I think it was called MMQ. And I think it was a shoot with this footballer, but I don't remember his name. I'm not a big sports guy, so I don't remember his name, to be honest. Olivier Giroud? Maybe it was Olivier Giroud. Yeah. With AC Milan and Puma. Yes. Olivier Giroud. That was his name. There we go. French footballer.
Oh yeah. Giroud. Yeah, he's fucking famous.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, nice. So did you work with a lot of celebrities and you should get some name dropping going on during all your Highsnobiety jobs?
I
Or
guess a
what kind of
few.
talent?
I mean, they had some big names at times. I mean, Kitty Smile. This was one I really liked when I worked with Kitty Smile. Yeah, Gianluigi Buffon. He's a big one. I can't really remember the
a lot of
rest. To be
footballers.
honest, I'm not. Yeah, I'm also not like a big. Brenda Hashtag from O32C. This was a cool one. I really enjoyed this one. You know,
Nice.
but no, not really many famous people or anything like this. No,
a lot of. I mean, so
definitely footballers. There was like 3, 4, 5 footballers that I'm not remembering their name, and then a couple of like micro famous people. Let's say influencers, but not just influencers. People with their own kind of practice, whether it was writing or you know, something like this. So there's definitely quite some people I did work with that I discovered who they were as working with them while working with them. Sorry.
Yeah. So different type of talent. I mean, that's also now how they basically choose the people in front of the camera, right? They have a little bit of clout and usually are known for something specific. I mean, there was like this roller skating girl who was like at the Temple of Feld, like doing her videos, and then she kind of blew up and was like in every Adidas commercial.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her name, but she was super dope. I think you know her too.
I mean, for example, Hiking Patrol. Do you know Hiking Patrol? We did this one, but obviously it made sense because we were shooting for Mammut. We were in the Alps doing this very like, you know, hiking, gorpcore kind of shoot. And Hiking Patrol, I think he's just this big kind of gorpcore online fashion guy.
So, yeah. But isn't it a brand, this Hiking Patrol?
I don't know. Is it not? I think it's a person. I don't know. Maybe it's a brand now. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's a brand. But also there's Hiking Patrol, the Instagram. But I thought it was just a guy. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure. And also the girl I was talking about is called Umi Janta. She is now...
Umi Janta.
Yeah, or Janta. She's like doing rollerblading. She did like rollerblading videos. I think, I don't know if it was like past COVID or something. And she did like those dope videos and suddenly... rightfully she blew up and had like Adidas commercials going on and
she's cool.
Super famous.
I like her. Yeah,
she's
like
dope.
Her.
And and these, I think, like also people of like who have like something specific and do have some social media presence end up also in being so many like branded commercials or branded content that are also not famous like that or celebrity status. But so the first 2 jobs, like you didn't know what you were doing and you kind of, winged it. But do you have some lessons learned out of that experience? And like some tips and tricks of how you made it?
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say any particular or specific tip or trick or lesson other than I think sometimes you just have to go for it and do it and see what happens. You know, I think 95% of people who want to do something stop at the point of doing it, you know? And I think at some point you just gotta roll with the punches and do it the best way you can. And I think that ends up building a sense of confidence in yourself. And of course, you're going to miss some things, you know? For example, I think there are, of course, some things I overlooked and I had to scramble last minute to get. I mean, on any sort of set in a production, there's millions of tiny details that you can only understand once you've done X amount of productions, you know? So, I mean, I don't really have any tips and tricks, but I'm just very glad I didn't quit because I thought I would and I wanted to at the time. I thought maybe for sure this isn't for me. But no, I'm glad I didn't. I think it was good to just go for it. And I think there's always that moment the night before a shoot, you send out the call sheet and you're thinking, did I get everything?
Right.
And then you just have to say to yourself, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see how it goes. I'll figure it out. I always do. And it always works out in some way. You know?
Yeah.
So I think this level of confidence has brought me calm now when I'm on set. Kind of like, okay, we missed something. It's also no reason to freak out. It's a matter of, okay, let me call somebody or do this thing or let me jump out and grab that thing. It always works out. It's never really that big of a disaster. Rarely, at least.
Yeah.
So
no,
that was my biggest learning for sure. For sure.
Yeah, you just gotta, you really find out that it's all about problem solving anyways. Like you gotta figure out.
And you can't predict you can't predict everything, maybe the equipment delivers 2 hours late because there were traffic. I mean, you gotta roll with the punches. I mean,
right.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Any stories of like a huge fuck up or anything you had to figure out or like a situation where it's like, that was actually smart problem solving here from the top of your mind?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean,
anything you can say, or do we have to bleep it?
No, I mean, I think it's never has anything been a major fuck up. But there have been small things. Okay, styling hasn't arrived on time. We need to get these shoes. And now we have to run to a shop in the middle of the city, in the middle of the shoot day and try and pick up these items because no one else can. One of my biggest lessons is always have runners if you can, because if you're producing and you have to be the one to go step outside and grab something, it's not the vibe. This is definitely runners, hands as much as possible has been the hugest help. But no, I can't say anything major. I mean, there's just always a small thing where you have to run and go get something or even just fake it. Like, oh yeah, no, I thought of that for sure. And then go and organize that in the background.
Portraying that.
But no, I think not. I also think when you're working with so many great people, it just becomes... I also think I really like to work with people on set that we're all just going to have a good time and we're all kind of on the same team here. You know what I mean? So if something is missed or forgotten, there's no need to be an asshole to someone unless they're genuinely, making things difficult or difficult to work with. But I think genuinely my experience has always been trying to bring together a group of people who get along well and just are having a good vibe on set. Because if everyone is having a good vibe on set, honestly, and the crew gets along well, things are going to run smoothly even when they're a fuck up. And when there is a fuck up, everyone is going to be like all hands on deck trying to figure out a solution and willing to help. But if you're kind of this high ego, asshole kind of character, when something goes wrong, it's going to be easy to hate on you. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like in my experience, I've always been lucky to have like such great people around. And I've just honestly had so much fun on set all the time. It's my favorite part of the job, really. I really can't think of something where there's been a major fuck up, honestly.
Nice.
Not to say, that doesn't happen to me. There have been many fuck ups, but nothing that stands out in my mind as a bad experience,
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all about really the people who are around. Runners is actually a really good point to have somebody who's like, because you can't be everywhere. It's like the same thing, like if you need to drive and also you're organizing, like you can't be on your phone. It's like, because it's always like time as such, it's always like a matter of time.
Yeah.
Also, what I find is also important, especially also like paid shoots, unpaid shoots, is to have some kind of decent catering. Like people need sugar and like you don't want them to be hungry.
For sure. And coffee. People go nuts without their coffee. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but you people are crazy about your coffee.
I know, you gotta have that. So these are the little things that help to keep the mood and energy high. Because as you said, it's about the vibe and everybody like trying to like figure it out together.
Exactly.
Be on that mission. Do you have any routines like pre-production wise? Because you said on set is your favorite part. How much do you like pre and post production?
Post production, I hate. I really can't stand post production. I mean, it's where you get to actually see the fruits of your labor come together. So it's, of course it's beautiful, but I mean, actually, no, it depends on the context. I think for kind of branded fashion work, agency work, etc., where there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, it can be honestly unbearable. And you're essentially a messenger delivering messages between, the team who, it's intense. I find it intense and repetitive and monotonous. It's not my thing. Pre-production is more my thing. I love it. I love trying to figure out who's going to be a good fit for this, who's going to be a good set designer for this, looking at portfolios, chatting with people, kind of bringing the idea, like getting the concept and kind of bringing the vision together and starting to think of people and reaching out. I love this part. Tips and tricks. I mean, I have a very chaotic way of working. I mean, I work multiple jobs at once. My mind is constantly bing-bonging between different things. And I even have a tendency to be halfway through an email and then something will pop in my mind about something else. And then I'll like, oh, let me actually go like do that a little bit. And then I pop back and then I pop this and I'm kind of all over the place. I mean, in all fairness, I was diagnosed with ADD when I was a child and was not medicated for it. So I think I think somehow I've found a way to adapt to it, in some format. And I think that's why working in a freelance capacity and kind of bouncing around from different things all the time very much works with my sense of my brain, basically. I think it really works. The only thing that I would say that I live by is my calendar, for sure. I live by my calendar. I will miss a very important meeting if it's not in my calendar. I mean, this happens to me all the time. This is my Bible. Yeah. And I'm like a just good old classic. I write down what I have to do for everything. Right. I like organize project and like, okay, photographer, director, location, what the status is for this. I'm big, like note down everything in bullet points and to-do lists. It's a classic, but it works super well. Yeah. It also helps calm my brain down at the beginning of the day when I put a to-do list and I can see actually what I do need to do today. Because in my head, it feels a lot more intense than when I put it down and I'm like, okay, now I can see it. It's manageable.
Right. Yeah, it's out of your head. It's on paper or on screen. Do you use any specific tools or do you just use your notes app or?
No tools, just a notepad or a notes app. Yeah. I find all of these tools as well that are used in a lot of like corporate contexts, like Asana and things, just like another administrative.
Right. It takes so much time to feed those things.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't account for so many nuanced kind of obstacles that can happen and you just can't really put it in there. And then you're constantly just transferring data from an email into there and updating it. It's just, I hate them. I understand its purpose, but I think just keep it classic. Just a good old notebook or a notes pad, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it might be helpful if you work with teams and everybody uses it, but it feels like managing it so much and feeding all the information to it.
Also, depending on the industry, I'm sure in the tech world, it's probably super, you have so many people who need to see it or I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. But it's also the first question I always ask if there's a tool. How much time do I need to basically maintain the tool rather than doing something productive, really? So, but pre-production you love and anything like the night before the shoot, just like sending out the call sheet and taking a deep breath.
To send out that call sheet it's really like a ritual. As soon as it's sent, it's like a sense of peace. It's done now. Everyone knows where they need to be, what time they need to be there. Yeah. All of the major things are in place. The rest we leave it for tomorrow, kind of.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think we touched on it a little bit because we talked about these projects and shoots, but like a creative producer, a cultural producer role, like, do you have a good definition for it? Because I always feel like it's so difficult, especially when you work so many different jobs and roles in this creative world to really describe what it is. Did you came to like a good phrase?
I mean, I think I use the two terms to differentiate kind of the two worlds I've worked in or I'm working in historically. I mean, I think creative production to me signals the person I think this signals more like agency, fashion work, etc. And I think it signals more like film, photography. So I think of a creative producer as someone who helps with putting together the creative vision for whatever visual concept we're trying to get out there into the world, And again, I think this very much signals a certain industry to me, which is like agency, fashion world, etc. I think cultural producer maybe more so encompasses a wider scope that I also participate in. So not only film and photography, but also exhibition, production, curation, which I've also done, editorial work as well. writing work, etc. So I think and more in the cultural field, so for like visual arts, contemporary art. So I think this is why I like to use the two terms.
Yeah.
Basically.
And how did Art Basel happen for you as a gig?
Yeah, this was funny. I was interviewing at Zalando for like a few different roles. I think it was like 2 or 3 different roles at the time when I first moved to Berlin. One I didn't get, one I got offered, and one I pulled out of actually during the interview process because it wasn't for me. But in 2 of them, there was there was a common denominator. There was one of the interviewers who happened to be in like multiple my interview rounds, and he is the one who mentioned to me, I think he reached out to me outside or through an email, or I forget how, but he was essentially like, hey, I think maybe these roles aren't fitting exactly what you're looking for, but I have someone who's looking for someone, and I think you would be good for there.
Right.
And then he introduced me to Jean Salome, who's the head of brand and creative at Art Basel. I met with her. And over a few month period, we were having phone calls, meeting for coffee, and trying to essentially shape this role that she was looking for at Art Basel. And then it manifested into an actual offer. So I've been freelancing there for, I think, over 4 years now, and doing the creative direction and the production. Like you said, of the Meet the Artist, Meet the Collector, and Inner Worlds. Inner Worlds is in collaboration with Nowness. So, but yeah. And it's been great. I love it. This has been a very dope role.
Super dope. And also, I think, that's basically where the creative producer and cultural producer kind of also meets, right?
Exactly.
And go.
I think exactly this, because same with the Schirn, because it's also where the creative producer and cultural producer meet, because also when I was speaking with the Schirn as well, my whole angle was kind of coming from this fashion world where you have directors and photographers and people in this visual role that are doing such striking imagery. I think you can say what you want about the fashion industry, but they do have very striking, like a very strong ability to make striking visual work, especially photography and moving image. And I thought, I wanted to kind of bring some of my knowledge from there into this arts and cultural space, let's do an artist profile about an artist and their practice, but let's bring a more experimental visual language into it. Let's borrow from this fashion space and work with directors who are typically working in fashion and bringing them into this cultural space and make a more experimental documentary. It doesn't always have to be a sitting head and shots of the studio, but how do we play with the visual language that also relates to the artists and their work, that also communicates who they are and their practice, and build a whole world. This is what I was really keen on trying to bridge together, actually. So this was kind of my angle going in there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think you did that super well, because also, I mean, it looks also very dope, and I see it like on IG and on the different playlists on Art Basel too for the respective projects. And I felt like there's really great storytelling in there, because somehow in the fashion world, people manage to describe who is the founder or who's the creator and who's behind it. But in the art world, it's either it feels like it's so exclusive that you also don't know who's behind it. And I felt like you kind of made it possible to really see who are the people, you hear them speak, and it's not like, as you said, or it's not just the photo next to their artwork, but rather a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I think this is also what I love, because I do think there's something democratic about film work and moving image work, and I also think, I mean, what I say sometimes is that I feel like sometimes in the art world, the language behind things can already be a barrier to some people, because it's very intellectual. And I mean, it requires like a high level of literacy, for example, like a very high level of literacy, and to be very well read, etc. And I mean, not everyone has the accessibility to be in these spaces, but I do find what can be interesting is, through this film work or through these artist portraits, you can get to learn about someone and their work in a way that feels a little bit more a little less intimidating to approach, let's say. It could be like a good entry point in. And that doesn't mean to diminish the intellectual work or context behind an artist or their work at all, but I think it creates a good entry point for some people to discover someone. This is why I do love these portraits and these mini documentaries, and to also make them visually interesting. So it's not you're just watching a talking head or a lecture or something, which those do serve their own purpose and have a role for sure. But I think for what these videos are trying to do, I think to have like a well thought through and interesting visual language also adds a whole dimension to it that can connect with the viewer.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I really like these things. I do find them some sort of kind of like an accessibility project in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting what you say. I'm just thinking about this this exclusiveness, but also the intellectuality of it, and how easy is it to produce? I like these artists. Not necessarily easy to work with, but it's also probably a little bit outside of maybe their comfort zone or not. I don't know.
Honestly, I've always had a really good experience working with all of these artists, with both Art Basel and Schirn. Honestly, I'm not just saying that because this is going to go into the public realm. Genuinely, I also had, when I first kind of started, I was a bit like, okay, hesitant to see. I mean, people can be particular.
Yeah.
Artists can also be very specific about how their work is perceived. And it's happened once in a while. But I think most of the time I've worked with such fun, sweet, open people. Honestly, I've had such a blast with nearly everyone I've worked with. And of course, some people are not so comfortable on camera. And this is always kind of funny because I don't force it either. It's kind of like, this is about you. I mean, you do what you feel comfortable doing. If you don't want to sit down and have an interview, we can do like a walk and talk kind of thing. Yeah. We also can just like keep a small kind of a piece of equipment going. We can have a small camera on the go. You can kind of do your thing. Most of the time people get comfortable. And I also think when you're bringing together a good team of people, this is also what I usually look for. When I meet the artists, we talk about what we want to do, when we can shoot, etc., kind of how the whole format goes. And I get a little bit of an understanding of them and their personality. I'll try and also choose a director who has a little bit of, who can really, it's important that the person shooting also brings out a little character and makes the person in front of the camera feel comfortable, right? So it's nice if they have a little bit of a personality that I think will match. It doesn't always work, but so rarely, honestly. Yeah, it's been great, actually. Like, honestly, I love it. I really love it.
So it comes down to, again, like the right team coming together, a lot of empathy, I guess, to see like what will match with the talent you're shooting. And I'm just wondering, did the sociology bachelor degree play into any of this? Like the skill set?
I think it plays into everything. Honestly, I think I say this all the time, but I think sociology should be like a mandatory course throughout your education. I mean, it's super, I think it trains your muscle of empathy, for example. I think it helps you understand things in a critically analytical way. I think it can, for me, honestly, it just changed the way I looked at my world, always. This was the biggest takeaway I have from it. No specific... this was just the biggest takeaway. It really changed the way I looked at my whole world. Yeah, and of course, this impacts, especially working in the art world, where a lot of it is very all of it is very much embedded in a social political context, whether in the present or the future or the past. And I think having a sociological or even historical perspective on all of these things and how we as people or as humanity works, and cross-cultural exchange and intersectionality and all of these things are a constant theme, especially now, and a lot of the artworks and the artists that I speak with. And I also think it's super important. I think one of the reasons we don't have such a problem with these films, with these artists, is because it's super important to understand who they are and what their work is, and for that to translate well through a narrative. So that needs to be translated also to the director, and also has to be translated in the first cut, which we do internally before it even goes to them. We make sure that basically, their vision is being properly articulated. For example, there was one context with these two really brilliant Brazilian artists, Benjamin de Bocam, Barbara Wagner. And we showed them the first cut. They weren't so sure. And I was like, okay, give me the transcript. I took the transcript of the whole interview and I built the whole narrative based on what they were saying and based on how I understood during our interview what they were trying to articulate about their works. And we went through the script together and then we did a second cut and they loved it.
Nice.
So yeah, I think it helps in just understanding all the different dimensions and all these different works from these different artists and where they're coming from and who they are and what their history is and how that impacts what they're trying to communicate through the work, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. Nice. Interesting. Because I also wanted to understand, how is the process of working for this mini documentary, or like first of all, Meet the Artist and Inner Worlds, are they only video projects, but are they also exhibited, or do they are released on Nowness? Like maybe a little bit of the whole setup of.
So both? Yeah, I mean, Meet the Artist and Meet the Collectors lives on the Art Basel website and their YouTube channel. And then Inner Worlds, same thing, lives on the website, YouTube channel, as well as Nowness' website and YouTube channel. So it's just primarily online distribution. However, there are instances where a film is shown at the fair, or it's submitted to film festivals, or it's an artist would like to use it for a work that they're producing, or an event that they're attending, or etc. There's always different. It happens all the time where someone is reaching out asking, "Can we use this film for X, Y, and Z, or can we submit this film to whatever?" And so it's in all different kinds of places. I should have had a better record keeping of where these things were going because there's been so many over the years, but I did not do that.
I mean, if it's on the website and on the YouTube channel, but I mean, what else people do with it? That's also interesting because you basically have like an alumni now of some of people who have been selected on different artists. Do you choose do people apply for it, or is it just like a curation and you reach out to the artists and collectors?
Yeah, so I mean, the editorial team at Art Basel is responsible for reaching out and also the selection of who they're going to reach out to. Of course, we all submit people that we think are interesting. There's been many that I've submitted, and we also all look at them together as a team, and we say who we like and who we think would be good on camera, and what would be interesting based on like a current temporal factor. For example, they're representing X Pavilion at the Biennale. This would be a good one to work with, etc. But I think criteria-wise is they have to be represented by a gallery that will be at Art Basel.
Oh, okay.
So usually there's some sort of, or not all the time, there's also just needs to be some sort of affiliation with Art Basel at some point in time.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And then at Schirn, of course, it's like we do the films with the artist whose exhibition will be opening in a month or two's time.
Yeah. And Schirn Kunsthalle in Frankfurt, right? Yeah. And the last one on the Meet the Artist, the one with Justice or Justice, did you work on that one as well?
Yes, I did work on that one.
Right.
Yeah, this one was cool. I mean, this one
was so dope.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the one on YouTube, or did you see the director's cut that we put that
the director and I posted
online?
Cut.
Okay,
yeah. No.
Okay, no, this was really cool. I mean, I worked on it. Actually, the concept I worked on it in collaboration with Eike, my partner, because we wanted to. How do I explain this? I mean, essentially, we were trying to tackle kind of the music, like a music angle on this, because okay, let's say the idea started with how is music or like live music events usually documented. You can already have an image of your mind of exactly what that looks like.
Right.
You have wide shots of the stage, a lot of lights, some people in the crowd like cheering. It's very much giving festival after movie.
Exactly. That was like my first thought was like really festival, like the big stage panning over the crowd.
Exactly. And we wanted to try and do something just a little bit more, like something more interesting, like how do we work with details on stage and lighting? How do we present the performance on stage as something far more thought through and like a more cared for visual language than just capturing it for the sake of capturing it? Like, how do you make documentation also a nice piece of work in its own right? So we really wanted to try and do that with Justice. It didn't work out in the way we wanted to, because we wanted to shoot them at the time they were on tour. So we wanted to go to one of their shows on tour in France and shoot the concert. They didn't want to do this, which was sad. But we had like a whole slew of ideas of how to make this super visually interesting and also intertwine it with an interview, right? So how do we mix kind of like this live stage concert documentation aspect with like an interesting interview and make like a little bit of a like archival work and like document a concert in an interesting way. I'm just super fascinated with how we can document a concert in an interesting way. I mean, so what was this like Talking Heads film, Stop Making Sense, has some beautiful imagery in this. There's also a Prince like concert that is also filmed and in a really interesting way, and they mix like these fictional snippets that bring the whole concert through a storyline. I think this is such an interesting way to document a concert in a movie format. So I just wanted to experiment with this a little bit. We didn't do it in the same way, but we did just try and do something. I mean, we had an hour and a half with them in La Cigale, which was the place that they performed one of their first shows in Paris. So we wanted to use their music, have like some really interesting editing. I mean, I wanted to take it a little bit away from this classical kind of meet the artist format, because they're musicians, and kind of use the energy of their music in a form of, how do we edit this more interestingly? How do we shoot this in like from angles that are just not a talking head, but at some point they're on the stage on these two chairs, and we're kind of, the director, Gabriela films, she's shooting them from above and having some, we just wanted to be super playful with it. In the end, it turned out okay I think it turned out really well, given the limitations we had and our original vision. I think it turned out really nicely.
Also time limitations. I think it looks dope. I have to watch the full one on YouTube. But like with this, it was like in this opera kind of like red
beautiful
seats,
theater.
theater.
La Cigale.
I'm gonna try to slide in a few pictures.
Beautiful venue, honestly. Such a beautiful venue. I'm looking at photos of it again now. Yeah. And I think Gabriela just did a really amazing job at getting some, because we only had that like a few hours at the venue and like 1 hour with them. And I think considering the limited amount of time and space, I think there's still like an energy and a visual diversity that even though we're in the same space, there's still a lot to look at. And I think it's like, I think she did such a brilliant job, honestly.
Nice. Yeah, man. I mean, I saw it on IG and I'm rarely on it. And it was like really striking, and it was like a thumb stopper for me already on like the visuals you put out. So I'm definitely the little editing I'm going to do, I definitely have to insert some of this and tag, obviously. Okay. But how difficult is it for you now a little bit? I mean, to fulfill somebody else's vision, and like, because you're also like a creative of your own and you do different things. And that's also like, I want to talk about soft launch and also like your entrepreneurial journey. But it made basically a little bit as a segue. How do you deal with being basically a hired gun as a creative producer or cultural producer in these roles to make somebody else's vision happen? For instance, in the example where you talked about the Brazilian artists, where you then just like basically take their feedback and then try to construct something or produce something that fits both the wishes of like the institution, like the director or the DOPs and the talent on screen, and how much of what you really feel like is the best. Like, how do you deal with being in between all of it?
I mean, okay, I need to clarify also with the Brazilian duo. I mean, one is Irish and the other one is Brazilian, but they're based in Brazil.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really feel like an executor. I think in the roles I've been in, I always have a say and people really appreciate what my say is. I think especially in the context of Art Basel and Schirn, I also, my role is also the creative direction, and the visual direction. So I very much also set the tone. I very much have a lot of control over where the vision goes. Of course, I have to work collaboratively with the artist, but rarely has that made things worse.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, usually, the artist's biggest concern is whether or not themselves and their work is being presented well, and I think that's also super important to get their input on it. It always makes a better film, I think visually, luckily, I've not had much pushback on what we do visually. I mean, I'm always trying to do something that I think suits them, but also fulfills my dreams of like trying to experiment. So, and I think in both institutions, I've really had so much freedom to explore visually. I haven't really felt limited in any way, honestly.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's dope.
So it's a good situation. I can't complain, honestly.
No, that's dope because because I hear it in so many different situations where, for instance, like a DOP is, I don't know, you shoot a video and then it is like really not what they would like to do, but they feel like they're like the tool to execute it. But as you said, then this is like you found the perfect roles where everything kind of goes hand in hand, and you can.
But I think in some of my freelance roles with, in an agency world, for example, I definitely feel this way for sure. I think that's why I've gravitated more towards the arts and culture realm also. Not only just in terms of my personal interests and like meaning to me, but also because of this. I think sometimes I find it difficult to, especially now in like the current political landscape, I find it difficult to care about trying to sell something. I mean, I just find this tricky to care about, to be honest. So, but yeah, in terms of like creating things for others, I think, at some point in my career, you have a boss, you have to listen and do what they say and like do what they want. And I think in many contexts, when you have like a big client paying for something, you do have to do what they want. And sometimes, of course, it waters down the idea, and that's sad, but it's the name of the game. I think this is why I like project-based work, because sometimes a project doesn't turn out how you want it, but okay, let's just finish it, get it done in the best way we can, and then move on to the next. I mean, there's good ones and there's bad ones. This is why I love working on a project-to-project basis like this.
And actually, also in what you said before, you're not trying to sell anything in the political climate. What do you mean?
I think, for example, maybe I don't know if you put this in there, but anyway, I'm just going to say it. I think, for example, like if we're doing a campaign for Puma, let's say, for example, and then it's like, but we really need, this timeline is so tight, and no, it's getting pushed back, but no, we need to make this deadline. I'm kind of like, at the end of the day, we're doing something fun and cool, and that's my favorite part. That's why I like being on set, because it's like, how do you bring this like crazy visual concept to life? And this is super fun. But I think when there's a lot of urgency and pressure to like get the product out, etc., it's like, for what? We're like, we're selling sportswear right now. I think there's bigger things happening, and I think it's okay if things run a little bit behind schedule, or things are a bit slower, or etc. And I don't know. I think I find it. Sometimes I just can't put my meaning into it if it doesn't. Whereas I feel like in the cultural context, it's like, we're trying to get this artist's name out there, and a lot of times, especially with Art Basel, we'll focus on like a big name artist. We'll do one emerging artist for sure, and I just find this really not only interesting but educational, valuable, contributing something, and like a necessary I mean, it's necessary. You know, I think art is super important, and what a lot of these artists are doing really amazing work. And if I can be a part of that, if I can be a tool to help them get that, you know, louder out there, I love this. You know?
Okay. Yeah, I get what you mean. Because for some of the commercial stuff, it is really like, this is marketing we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So
you know?
it's just like...
And that's not to, I don't want to, it's not to say, I mean, I think there's some really amazing creative work being done in the fashion industry that is like super important, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's just more so the structure of the agency and the intense working hours, the high expectations. But when you really think about it, at the end of the day, it's marketing, right? And I feel, a little bit like I struggle with that.
No,
I'd say.
I agree. I think also coming from the music world and the industry, and sometimes, I mean, a release date is important, but it's also not open heart surgery, right? So sometimes you feel like, why are the stakes so high and the stress level so high? And sometimes you lose a little bit of the humanity and the empathy between each other because, I don't know, there are like so many stakeholders involved, but at the same time, it's like, this is like nobody is luckily dying, right? So why are we... Yeah, so I and especially now with everything that's going on in the world, then it feels like really unrelated to what's going on.
Yeah, I think this is a big thing. And I think, however, I think for fashion, I still really enjoy doing these works and these productions because, like I said, it's just so over the top, some of the things you have to do visually. And I think to put that together is so fun, and you meet some amazing people. It's more so just behind the scenes, the kind of marketing agency, the thing that's fueling the whole thing that I struggle with. It's not the people, it's not the people I'm working with on set. It's not,
No.
You know?
No, definitely. It's just like a bit of the feeling and sometimes the vibe that's around it. And people in the roles are also like, it's also, they have the pressure from coming from, I don't know, their bosses or everything. But it's just like this world, especially also like fashion and deadlines and the releases and putting a collection together. Lara, I have definitely to put on this podcast as well. Like also like doing it on your own, sometimes how much pressure is involved.
Exactly.
So it's not like hating on the industry. All want to still get hired, but
exactly.
But
I'm still around. I said I'm still around.
I'm still around for sure. No, but I get what you mean though, because like some other work is sometimes less stressful, but also sometimes more meaningful, and sometimes it just doesn't really match. Yeah. But how did Soft Launch start? Your creative studio and production house? Can we say that?
I mean, it started with a friend of mine, Jordan. We were doing a lot of work, like a lot of production work together. And I remember at the time I had way too much work than I could have done on my own. And one of the clients I was working for was like, if you need an assistant, like you can budget that in.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, cool opportunity to also work with a homie. Like who can I work with, you know? And then, I brought on my friend Jordan and we worked on a lot of productions together and he was just killing it. And we were essentially co-producing like everything together for like over a year. And at some point we were like, you know what, I think it would be really cool. I think there's so many things I would like to do. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to create an entity in which I can funnel those creative ideas through, you know? I think it like goes beyond just, you know, it's like, for example, we wanted to do Loose Ends, you know, this exhibition I wanted to co-curate with Elena, the co-founder or the founder of Ex-Girlfriend, who's now co-founder of Safa. We wanted to do an exhibition together, and we thought, okay, why don't we run this through Soft Launch as well to get funding, also to even present it with like a proper entity behind it. I think it helps with legitimacy, you know. And I also think, for example, independent film projects that we apply for funding with or try and do on our own, I think it gave us essentially like something to present to the world that you can run your own ideas and projects in, and it's an entity that gives, I think, a sense of legitimacy, and it is legitimate. And I also think, you know, for big opportunities, for big projects, to present it as like, hey, this is something we can do as soft launch, rather than just you as an individual producer. I don't know. It was a good decision, I think, and I love it. We still run with it for a lot of things. Yeah.
Nice. So does it help you also to? I mean, the website looks dope. I mean, I know some of the projects. So 2-3 questions there. So soft launch also. So loose ends. What is loose ends?
Okay, so actually, loose ends it doesn't really have anything to do with soft launch, but soft launch is the creative studio working primarily in arts and culture. Let's say the goal for this was, like I told you, coming from this fashion world, trying to bring a little bit of like a visual creativity and elevating the visual language in photo and video and events, etc., in the arts and culture world. So working with like institutions, and artists, etc. So this was kind of the goal of soft launch, is like a creative studio in arts and culture. And then loose ends was something we decided to do as like a nomadic exhibition series. This was, I mean, it kind of birthed out of soft launch, because, soft launch as a arts and culture creative studio, let's do our own exhibition. And then we started Loose Ends. But I think that's grown to be something separate from soft launch. I don't want Loose Ends to be associated in any sort of like commercial way. It's actually just more of like a love project that came out of Elena and I, where we can do like curatorial group exhibitions and performances and have it on a nomadic kind of context, and we can go to different gallery spaces or institutions or off spaces and kind of pursue our individual desire to curate and to work with artists and to put on exhibitions and shows. I think we both really love this. So this is what Loose Ends is. And Loose Ends, I mean, Elena founded Ex-Girlfriend, which was a gallery space in Berlin, and now it's more of like this nomadic kind of curatorial entity. And so it's more so Loose Ends and Ex-Girlfriend that have this kind of collaborative, I'd say, meshing.
Nice.
Let's say.
Well, I love all names of it. I love how everything is branded. So also soft launch kind of helps you then to also not be only the individual freelancing producer or creative director, but also rather have something that's more of an own entity.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also to experiment in different, I think it's really just like our own thing now, that our three brains came together and put together and are like, okay, this is going to be the funnel in which we use to experiment with like film and photo and event in the arts and culture space. This is also, there is not many creative studios doing that. And these institutions and these spaces actually need the same kind of work. I think it's super important for their names and identities, whether through photography or film, to get out there, because I think now more than ever, these institutions need visitors, these exhibitions need visibility, and I think we need to communicate that out into the world. So I think this is the role I hope soft launch to have.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. How do you, and that's also now basically also again a nice segue into this whole brand building world I wanted to touch on. I mean, the naming already, in my opinion, worked super well, and the things you've done, the website and the look and feel you can get when you check out the Instagram accounts. And you need to stop this with the paper.
Sorry, how can you hear that? So, oh my gosh, okay.
I don't know. It's always in my ear.
Sorry.
But so how do you deal with like Instagram, for instance, like your own Instagram and putting out the work, and then also, how do you get clients for like yourself and soft launch? How much is network? How much is Instagram? How much is like doing an own exhibition? I mean, I know there's like many questions, but just like to pick your brain on how you think about these kind of things.
I mean, so for soft launch, I guess the branding and identity was done by Autostrada Studios. Very great. So dope, honestly. And I think, we really wanted something that felt clean and classic, but also not too classic, with a little bit of edge to it, with a little bit of, I guess edge is the word to it.
Yeah.
So this is how we went about this. And, Yeah, wait. Now what's the next question?
No, I was just
Kind of lost
wondering
my
how
train of
you
thought.
go about like branding these things, also putting your
Mhm,
name out for the agency or the creative studio yourself.
mhm.
What's your Instagram approach?
Yeah, I mean, this is
What's,
hard, man,
yeah.
honestly. I think like, yeah, I mean, yeah, the branding is one thing. I think we did initial branding many years ago with another friend of mine, Pilly, and she did an amazing job. I think at some point, just our vision for soft launch evolved, so we needed it to look and feel like more like mature and
Mm-hmm.
evolved, and like I said, classic but sleek, very well designed, but also with like edge and a little bit and some like confidence, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think honestly, what else can you do? You just put your work out there. So you kind of just have to do things, you know?
Right.
I think it was just a matter of like, we need to do a bunch of work so that we have work to post. And that's the
Right.
only way people are going to understand who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just it. We don't really have any sort of social media strategy or anything like this. I also think none of us are very good at this, you
Mm-hmm.
know? We just kind of post our work when we can, and we probably should do it more, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we do. How we get work, I mean, it's really all network, I think. I also think there's sometimes when I'm at Art Basel that I think a certain project would be, it would be a good project for soft launch. And I think this like soft launch would do it well, you know?
Right.
So there have been times where we're like, hey, there's this Art Week Tokyo project. We have an idea that we can do for this. Maybe we do this for soft launch rather than just
Mm-hmm.
hiring an individual director.
Right.
Um,
Amazing.
so this also sometimes happens. There are certain
Mm-hmm.
jobs that I'm like, as the creative producer at this institution, I'm also kind of like, hey, I have a production company and a
Mm-hmm.
studio that I think could actually do this one really well. So how about we run it through there? So we
Mm-hmm.
do sometimes. And this is how we've been
Nice.
getting most of our jobs. I also think a lot of it is just personal network, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's hard for someone to trust you if they don't know you, you know?
Exactly.
So you kind of just have to build that. And I also think it maybe even means building it over like a year with someone that you're like, maybe there's a potential time that we work on a project together. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's also just making friends as well.
True.
I think, I don't think I'm the kind of person to, schmooze. I really can't fake it. I
Yeah.
honestly can't. I don't think I'm the kind of person to hang out with someone and really try and like, you know,
Yeah.
with the idea that the job's going to come out of it. It's not really my vibe, I think, at
Mm-hmm.
all. It's more so like I like to meet people
Right.
I like. And then sometimes like an opportunity comes from that where it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cool. You know what? I have this thing. Why don't we work on this together? I mean, I think I like it to happen very organically, which is probably why things at Soft Launch are moving slowly. You know, we're not like
Mm-hmm.
popping out work all the time, but more so kind of waiting for things to organically arise that feels like it's well suited. And I think I'm okay with it like this
Nice.
for now.
Yeah, yeah. No, it sounds it sounds healthy and
Mm-hmm.
like a good approach. And yeah, it's also not like a bunch of cold outreach trying to force projects, and then it doesn't sound like you're like
Not
in a constant
really.
pitching scenario that is also like burning so much mental health, mental energy,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there are some like, let's say cold outreach if we think, yeah, we can do something good for this specific
Mm-hmm.
thing. Let's reach out to them. Let's find a way to reach out to them rather than just sending a bunch of cold emails on or something like this. I
So,
think this is
yeah.
not really our style.
Mhm. And how do you split your time? Do you do that very intuitively, or what's urgent and what's
Totally.
important? What
I
is
mean,
paying me? What is like,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I have Schirn and Art Basel, which I'm online every day. Like I'm always kind of working
Mm-hmm.
on this. And then everything else is kind of intuitively and in between, you know, in between
Right.
the moments where, you know, you have some hours and you don't have anything to do, or you're, you know, I mean, there's days where I'm like still waiting for the film to come back. And
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a working day, it's kind of like, okay, things are super slowly. I'll work on personal projects during this time.
Right.
It is also, it's just very intuitive, but
Mm-hmm.
I think all of them take equal priority in a way, you know, but that's never been in conflict with one another.
Right. Yes. Mm. Nice, man. I still have so many things I want to ask you, but I want to take it to the creative industries. But you actually mentioned that already between Berlin and Toronto. do you see, because I feel like Toronto seems to be popping, like from the outside looking in, like the biggest superstars are coming out of there with The Weeknd and Justin Bieber, Drake, even the ex-prime minister is dating a pop star. And so,
oh my God.
So is Toronto popping? How does it compare to Berlin?
I think I can't like really answer that, only because, you know, let's say I moved to Berlin and my experience was that I was welcomed with open arms.
Right.
And I think it was really easy for me to meet people, and people were so willing to help me out when I was here. And I felt like working in the creative field here it happened in such an organic way, in such a natural way, and it felt super easy to do it. Not easy, but it felt natural, and it didn't feel like anyone was trying to gatekeep me. Whereas I feel like in Toronto, I don't know. I mean, I had this conversation with a friend of mine, I think it was two Christmases ago, and he's very much embedded in the creative scene in Toronto, and he very much disagreed with me. And I think I had to remind myself, like, you know what? Maybe it's true. I mean, I graduated, I left, I went back to Toronto and was kind of trying to figure it out, but I also knew it was temporary. And also, I have to say, I think it's a dope city. I think, you know, Toronto's home. I love it. It's just not the city for me. I think I never really vibed with the city, let's say. Like, I tried so hard to be that person, to be like, yeah, this is my neighborhood. This is my favorite, like, cafe shop. I love working from this cafe. I like this restaurant. No, I just didn't connect with anything there. It was not connecting. It was not working, you know? And when I moved to Berlin, everything, like, I felt like I really feel the chemistry of the city, and it's kind of like meeting a person. You have chemistry or you don't sometimes, you know, as some things fall flat. And I think Toronto fell flat for me, and Berlin was a city I met, and we had instant chemistry. And maybe that's why it was much easier for me to kind of find my way here, because we got along really well, let's say. I think Toronto definitely seems to have a fucking popping industry, really. I just so far removed from it and not involved in it at the moment. But as, you know, as years go by, I would be curious to actually, you know, kind of get my feet back in there in a way. It's a dope city. It's a dope city. You know, just what it did, it wasn't for me, I think.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if it's your hometown, it's always also a different feeling to it.
Exactly. You know, you're born and raised in a place, you're kind of like, let me get me out of here in a way.
Exactly.
You know it almost too well, you know? So I think this is also partly it. In a way, I think I maybe didn't give it a proper chance, but in a way, I also think like I also did. So it just wasn't for me. But I think when I first moved here, I would be like, yeah, Toronto shit, like fuck that place. I don't really care. Like it's really not. But now I have a different appreciation. I have a much different appreciation for it. I think it is a dope city, and there's a lot of cool things happening there. I mean, it just wasn't my place, I think.
Yeah. All right. I'm still curious to see. Have I been?
You should definitely go, for sure.
No,
I mean, they have TIFF. This is unreal. Right. I love TIFF.
Yeah. Where are the Niagara Falls again?
It's like an hour and a half from Toronto. It's in Niagara.
I've been there as a kid once.
The town's called Niagara.
All right. Any dream projects, collabs, maybe outside of this world or on a different field that you have in mind?
I mean, I'm very much trying to actively move more into this curatorial direction. It's like, I really love it. And I think it's been something I've been searching for a very long time. You know, and I also think coming with my production skills now, I feel so well equipped to understand, you know, on one level, how to approach this kind of project. So I think this is really, I mean, I have a few that I'm trying to get off the ground, hopefully by the end of this year, for sure. But going to this curatorial direction, especially in the context of moving image, is something my head is so deep in right now. I have a few different dream projects or ideas, but this is in a general in a general sense where I'm headed.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything more specific you can say, or like what's coming up, or not?
I mean, for example, one thing I'm hoping to work on with a friend is working with a museum in Frankfurt and bringing video artworks into a cinematic context. So essentially what happens video art was essentially a rejection of traditional cinema at some point in time, right? And seeing video work in the white cube or in the exhibition space is very much about seeing fragmented pieces of narratives, and I think that is in part of part of the work,
Okay.
However, I'm really curious about bringing it back into a cinematic space, because I think some works can also, what happens to their meaning and how can it change when it becomes a spectacle, when it requires duration and attention. And a lot of the times in an exhibition context, people are just kind of flowing in and out. I also think some people don't have the attention to watch something that may be 12 minutes for its whole sitting. People flow in, sit 2 minutes and leave. But I also think some works would be so interesting to see in a cinematic context, especially when it's dark. You're not really, of course you can leave and go to the bathroom or something like this, but once you're in the cinema, it demands you to stay,
True. Yeah.
And if you put a few works back to back and kind of in conversation with one another, how does it change how we experience video work? I think this is something a friend of mine, Teresa, and I are really trying to work and bring off the ground at some point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like everything that's experimental and where you curate also the way of consumption is, I think, very interesting right now, because everything is on demand. You can pause at any time, or you second screening everything anyways. And so
exactly. I'm really curious about this. And even for myself, how I would feel watching some of these video works that we'd like to program into this event of ours. Some of the videos, some of the works that we curated and would like to have in the program. I'm also curious how it will how it will be perceived on the screen, how I will feel watching it on the screen, how it changes how I feel about the work. So this is, for example, something I'm really, really hyped to hopefully get off the ground this year.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be watching. And so 3 overrated, underrated questions while we get out of this. And only gut feelings. And then we're going to scratch this card and see if we're going to win 10,000 euros.
Oh, I hope we win 10 grand. I can really use it right now.
So first question, also putting you in trouble, maybe. Overrated, underrated, or fairly rated, fine art.
Oh my God. Underrated. Or fairly rated. I don't know. Definitely not overrated, I would say. I think somewhere between underrated or fairly rated, for sure. I think art is the only history we'll have as humanity about how we think and who we are, and our cultural significance is the only thing we'll have left is art that will document that, I think it's super important, I think.
Yeah, I think it's also super important. I was just wondering about what's going to be left, because everything is sitting on hard drives now. So I'm wondering whatever is that
but that's the thing
art
is I think physical art is super important. It's super important. Think about everything we know historically about any sort of culture comes from the artworks they made, whether it was sculpting, whether it was painting on the walls. Everything we understand is through this. So I think to preserve this as well is maybe even underrated, actually, because everything is becoming digitized. And I think to preserve these works, we will disappear. Everything about us will disappear if we don't have art and if it's not documented. Yeah, especially physical things are super important. So maybe my answer is underrated.
And then as an asset class, because it's so institutionalized, as you said also earlier, and I feel I don't know, it's so hard to understand the art world, especially then fine art and the price tags attached to it. But still, underrated.
I think there's also a difference between kind of the art market, And then also kind of the knowledge capital side of it. So like, the institutions, exhibition spaces, art universities versus the fairs and the collectors, etc. I think they're different worlds that inevitably intertwine, both necessary in a way. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely want to understand more of it, but I also do think it's kind of underrated, but at the same time, it's so... this banana with the duct
I'm
tape?
no professional. There's whole studies on the market and industry and stuff. So I'm just saying based off of my experience and like my gut. But
yeah, right. That's what we do. All right, next one. PDFs.
I love PDFs. Underrated. Underrated as fuck. Honestly, I even canceled my whole like Creative Cloud Adobe because I wasn't really using all of them, and I was like, "Why am I paying $70?" But I definitely pay for Acrobat. Like everything runs through PDF for me. I sign on a PDF. Nice. Fucking love PDFs.
Right. Amazing. Okay, I'm not even asking anything further.
What else would you use if you don't have PDFs?
It's true. Yeah.
Preview? I don't know. How do you exchange documents and words? How do you sign things online? I don't have a fax machine. I'm not going to print it and sign it and fax it. It's not going to work.
It's just screenshots. This is the only other alternative I have.
Exactly.
All right. And last one, spas.
Spas?
A spa.
Oh. Underrated.
Underrated.
Fucking love a spa. I'm and German spa culture is top notch. I'm telling you, my partner and I go to spas any opportunity we can, and we're always exploring new spas, spa resorts. Like there's this crazy spa in Baden-Baden that is on my list to visit. It's supposed to be insane. There's this documentary that I need to watch, but my partner sent it to me. It's like an art documentary on like German spa culture. And then they have this little section on this crazy spa in Baden-Baden.
What is it called?
I don't know.
Maybe they can.
I'm sure if you type in Baden-Baden spa, Friedrichsbad. Yeah. I think this is it. Is it this?
Baden-Baden.
It's like a 19th century like thermal bath. It looks...
Okay.
Is it? Maybe this is it. I'm not sure. Anyways, so big spa fan over here.
Big spa fan. All right. Yeah. Hey. I wish I would have, if I would have had reach already, I'd say maybe they put you up, but we're in the beginning here. But maybe this one's going to pay for it.
Let's go. Okay, we're going to do like 2 months straight at the spa.
Right. So I have here a camera next to it because I'm going to scratch this card now and put it on screen later on. So thank you so much already. All underrated.
All underrated.
So we have to, I keep forgetting how this works. I think we have to have 3 times the same symbol.
Okay.
Like this one here, like the same sign. Euro. And I think it's going to say Gewinn or something. So far we made, like in previous podcasts, I made €2.
Okay.
So
you got a little hustle going on here.
We got a little hustle.
And do you PayPal the other €1 or what?
It's like 50 cents basically, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, because I need some of it.
I'm kidding.
I need some of it. But yeah, one person said I can keep it and the other is still waiting on the PayPal. And we unfortunately did not win.
Oh, classic. I come from a family of bad luck. We never win things in the Gallina household. So.
All right, at least we could keep up the tradition then of the family losing streak when it comes to these things.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, and sharing your story.
Of course.
So far in every podcast, and this is the 4th one I'm recording, it's been the 4th one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's I always there's still so much more I want to talk about and ask. So maybe there's going to be an in-person second round with the people I've been speaking to before. Okay. But yeah, thanks for your time. Keep up everything you do, and yeah, man, I'll see you soon.
I shall see you soon, my friend.
Right, man. Peace, brother.
Ciao.